Tired of old-fashioned prostitution? Don't spend enough quality time with your cell phone? You've come to the right place. I'll help you find a woman to spend some quality time with, and with any luck, you'll be spending some quality time with the doctor and the high-quality ceftriaxone and azithromycin he keeps around for just such an occasion. Let's begin. So, gentlemen, this first pick is an Asian girl, which I know is always popular. If you love animals, she's a great choice. This foxy woman will soon become the center of your existence. She likes ambitious types, leaders who can take charge and have some authority. Daiji describes herself as a very gentle and innocent woman. The last man she dated lost his head over her, so she's looking for something more casual right now. She wants a man who can keep her entertained. She has a naturally curious personality, and so one of her favorite hobbies is dissection. She enjoys trips to the zoo and has a particular fondness for snakes and spiders. That's her profile. She says her age is 20, but she has a lot of pictures of her with alcohol on Instagram. Quite the bold woman. So, what do you think? God, are you trying to kill me? Anyway, let's get on to the next one. This next girl looks like she could be Greek or Italian. All of her profile pictures are unfortunately above the waist, but looking at her arms and face, you can tell she probably isn't fat. So with that out of the way, let's see what she says about herself. She says that she loves the water and would like to meet a nice sailor someday. She finds it particularly cute when people can't swim, and she suggests she would be willing to help anyone with that. She says that her relationships tend to be rocky, but that when things get tempestuous and stormy, she's a better choice than someone who will drain all your energy and drag you down with them into the depths. She says she has a great beach body, and you'll simply dive when you meet it. Her legs are described as being beautiful and smooth from being in the water all day. Something seems fishy to me about this profile. What kind of woman describes herself as loving sailors and hangs around the docks all day? By the way, Gardnerella vaginalis cool beans. I'm always happy to add employment to the industry. All right, next profile. This is one of the few profiles to state their age. They say that they're 18, multiple times. She seems to be from Russia, but she talks about visiting areas as far away as Japan. She made an alternate account while visiting there, calling herself Yama Uba, and spent a lot of time attending traditional Japanese performances. Anyway, the next thing of note with her is that she's an architect. It must be a hobby or interest of hers, because there's no way someone who is 18 can be an architect yet. She describes liking raised houses. Right. They have things like that in areas prone to flood, right? And even likes the columns to be shaped like chicken legs. That's unusual. Okay, so she says she's seeking a brave and daring man, a sort of hero. Strangely enough, she doesn't like any of the men from her region, saying that Russian men have a distinct smell about them. And so she's seeking romance abroad. She wants a man who is humble, who won't blow his own horn, or any other horn for that matter, and she hates birds and doesn't want to go on any dinner dates anywhere near them. That's rather odd. Okay, How do you feel about the 18-year-old with the white hair? You know, it is just, well, that men these days are so understanding. We've come a long way from the days when we would marry virginal 16-year-old girls like Juliet Capulet. Well, it's an exciting new world. Let's see who's up next. Well, this one's actually not bad. You know, I hear she has quite a wonderful singing voice. Okay, this bird's really attractive. She's the sort of woman you could make art out of. What am I, her pimp? So about Siren, as she calls herself, she needs a man who will listen to her. She says it hurts her when she is ignored, and that it feels like she'll die if a guy passes her by and ignores her. That sounds like a rather extreme case of histrionic personality disorder. She says she thinks the most romantic thing she can think of is to sing a man to sleep, and then give him a lot of little nibbling love bites. She says that she grew up on the Mediterranean, but that people talk about her all around the world now. So, I gather this Siren is famous? Why is she on social media if she has so many followers? Is she promoting something? They say when something looks too good to be true, it probably is. Warn me next time, will ya? Ugh. Well, this woman has issues. But somehow I suspect you won't care. You'd think a woman with sake in her name would be more fun. Well, let's go and talk about her for a bit. Kuchisake has bad self-esteem, although it's hard to tell with women if that's true or just an act. She asks people constantly if they think she's pretty. Not only you, mind you, she'll ask everyone around her, even while you are walking together on a date. The upshot is that she doesn't tend to appear in crowded areas and only seems to appear at times and places where few people are about. So, at least this is not a habit that's going to take up too much of your date time. But it will require you getting up at some strange hours and going to some strange places. Since she is self-conscious of her appearance, she sometimes wears a surgical mask. Kinky. I wonder if she is interested in the medical profession. She spends a lot of time in her bio talking about herself. I guess it's not surprising. The bio section of anything for these types tends to be a sort of catharsis. She talks about a ruthlessly controlling man having kept her from pursuing her heart's true desire. Translation? She probably tried to cheat on some guy, and he didn't like that. She says that he wounded her. I wonder if that is a physical wound or psychological. It is strange how variable our faces in the mirror become as our self-esteem starts to change. She also describes something by way of borderline personality disorder, as she says she will impulsively lash out and cut someone who makes her feel bad about her appearance. I suppose I should admire the honesty, but I'm amazed she is so blatant about it, like she doesn't even think it will be an issue. Women must really have an easy time of it. I don't think I even need to ask, so... I'm glad we don't hold women up to impossible standards anymore. Pacify says that she likes really strong men, and that they should be strong like bull. A lot of Italian/Greek women are using this app nowadays, huh? Anyway, she says men should be primal, down to earth. She says that she wants to be treated like a queen, but that she likes a man who is bullheaded and can take the lead, and hopes her son will turn out to be the same. Wait, does she have kids? No, I think she means her future son. Anyway, she says that she's from Crete, but that she doesn't want any Cretans. So, I guess that means no short men need apply. This is a pretty typical profile. I think she's looking for an F-boy she can lead around on a leash. But what self-respecting man would... You're a very saintly and religious man, aren't you? To have so little self-respect. In hindsight, I probably should have sat to the left, from your perspective, of the pictures, rather than to the right. Well, thank God I'm not dead yet. These women are really lethal, almost monstrous. Or maybe you're just a little too trigger-happy. Speaking of triggers, perhaps your lack of standards is explained by the fact something else is a little too quick to go off. I'll leave that conversation for you and fluoxetine, or peroxetine, dealer's choice. This woman also says she's 18. I could have sworn that I recall reading about a woman like this from way back, but that's improbable. Well, 18 she is then. These profiles are a marvelous time machine. So, remember how one of our previous profiles mentioned that you would die for her beach body? Wait, doesn't beach also mean shipwreck? Anyway, this woman describes her hair as very lively. In fact, she often likes to keep it covered so that it can keep protected and doesn't get all scaly and flaky. Wow, this seems like a peculiar subject to split hairs on. But let's move on. She wants a man who isn't intimidated easily. She says that most men just freeze up as soon as they lock eyes together across a crowded room, and that's just a complete turn-off to her. If her eyes are such an issue, why doesn't she just wear tinted glasses? Anyway, this is another Mediterranean chick. Where are you located, anyway? You must be in a very Italian area. I suspect Lower New York City, right? That would explain the occasional Asian. But moving on. So, she doesn't like men who are very guarded, and doesn't think a man should shield their face from view. She doesn't like self-conscious men. That's appropriate, since it seems the author of this profile wasn't exactly very self-conscious herself, given all the words of praise she has for her beauty. She says that she is so beautiful she could make a god fall for her, and that her looks would make a goddess angry. And something about making a man hard as a rock. That's rather vulgar. That a turn on for you? I wonder if we could just replace your personality with a simple automation. But anyway, I'll save it for your dates to criticize you, since I'm beginning to get the suspicion that you enjoy that. Speak of the devil. This woman says she's very submissive. I don't believe it. Why would a woman in this day and age act like that? She must be a masochist. Or more likely, this is a trick. Don't say, I didn't warn you, Mr. Optimist. She thinks she's a great singer, and hopes one day to meet a man who also thinks so. Well, at least she has a sense of humor. Or was that not a self-aware comment? She goes on to say that she loves food, but eats like a bird, so she would like a man who knows how to cook. I don't think I need to even check, but she's probably from the Mediterranean. Lots of foreign women here. You must be from a highly populous port city, but it's typically men who emigrate in order to find work so they can afford women. What are all these women doing here? Are they prostitutes? Well, it's all good on your end, so I'll continue. She says she tends to fly around a lot, so I assume she likes to travel. She describes herself as being like the wind. Perhaps she's hinting she doesn't want to have to observe sexual fidelity? But that almost seems to contrast with her statement on submissiveness. I guess my original guess of that being a mere flirtation might have been accurate. So, she says that she wants a down-to-earth man. The hell does that mean? Because she doesn't want to be obsessed with appearances. Ah, I see. She's not too interested in the whole personal hygiene thing and doesn't want to be pressured into it. She says she's a record speed eater. Are you interested? Yeah. You want her to start eating something else quickly, right? Just make sure she doesn't have one of those PTSD outbursts from the last time one of her eating contests went sour. Oh my god, this is going to provoke all sorts of Oedipus. Who puts mother in their name in a dating profile? Not that you care. So, this woman describes herself as being very earthly and maternal. Pretty obvious from her profile name, though. She actually describes herself with a lot of adjectives. I wonder if she's sort of narcissistic. She says that people all over the place worship her. I see. I was correct. Oh well, hardly like that's an unusual thing, right? She says she doesn't think people should fight. A hippie? Except over her. She says she loves kids. Well, I'm sure the children appreciate it, but regrettably that's illegal and all, so... Oh, that's what she meant. Being around this sort of thing so often, you tend to come to regard everything as a disguised sexual euphemism. Anyway, she says she loves kids, but she doesn't have any yet. Her pictures do seem to show a lot of kids that look similar to her, and I notice there are no belly shots in any of her profiles. She's also sometimes shown as a rather fuller-bodied woman. Well, there's not enough evidence to say either way. She says that she regards us all as her children. Wait, even the man she's dating? What kind of roleplay is she into? She says that she's a goddess, but that she's fine with you just thinking of her as dirt. I see. She's a switch then. Or maybe enjoys a man that can keep her ego in check. She says that she's very fertile, good if you want a large family then, and that you'll enjoy plowing her. People on these sorts of things really could do with a bit more subtlety. She says she's 30 on her profile. Who knows if she's 30 off of it. Still, it's quite the rare woman who isn't in her early 20s. Do you want to keep her? Wouldn't it be rather simpler just to save you the time by setting all profiles as automatically accepted? Well, here's quite an enchanting woman. It looks like they're starting to get better. It says that she's a veterinarian and that she's around animals a lot. Well, that ought to make her a perfect match for you. She enjoys partying, but tends to throw parties at her own home. She has plenty of men around her, but describes them as being pigs, and is tired of their wolf whistling her. Maybe she's been around the block a few too many times. A pity. She says she's very wise and intelligent, and can be a good source of advice to anyone who is able to resist her charms. She says she's not very fond of Molly, so no ecstasy, I guess. But doesn't that mean she's tried it? Or is just tired of the rave scene? Her feelings towards MDMA aside, she has a number of other interesting claims. She says that she's a cook and a home brewer of alcohol, that her cooking's been described as magical, and that you won't want to leave her table once you've started drinking there. She says that although her place is often crowded, the animals there are at least highly empathetic and love to come into contact with people. Doesn't that describe the effects of Molly? She closes by saying that being with her will be like paradise, but that when you leave her, it will feel like you're starting to descend into the netherworld. I have no doubt that this woman is a drug expert. But your response? Wow! The fox goddess herself! This woman has a beautiful body and isn't afraid to show it. She is a wise woman, but no witch, being capable of managing anything well. She has a nearly boundless store of knowledge and wit, and is very clever. Just make sure you have a bit of money on hand, because she loves delicacies. She is particularly fond of apples, or anything soaked in honey, and incredibly delicious and sweet. She also has a fondness for alcohol, which can cause some of her mischievous temperament to rise up. Speaking of which, she can occasionally show a bit of a temper, so you either need to be a strong enough man to control her, or a man calm enough not to be fazed by these outbursts. Otherwise, she is a very nice lady, and would be wonderful to go on a long journey with. She's a goddess in the dining room, bedroom, or anywhere else for that matter. She'll make your crops more fertile if you're a farmer, help to ensure profit if you're a merchant, and be a wonderful companion whatever your occupation, just so long as you stay preoccupied by her. Expect to face some dangers with a woman as sought after as this. But if you stay by her side, she'll also do wonders to protect you from any dangers that she brings. She's a high-quality woman for any man. What do you say? Good choice. So, now we've come to the end of the selection. These are all the candidates that are currently available in your area. You said yes to literally every single candidate that has been presented to you. Let's hope your counterparts are so accepting. Good luck!